direct URL created in the client and can be used in sites. This direct URL, for this direct URL, I installed sites in the root folder, so I don't have a folder name here of the website. If you don't install it in root, you can add the folder name in this URL. The only thing it requires is this code that is the field value inside your Cumulus catalog that points to the record that you want to share. This code, or so this parameter of the URL can be whatever you like it to be. There are two parts to this solution. One part is an Ejap that is loaded into the Cumulus client. That Ejap is only necessary on that computer or those computers where you want to set that value. So other than that, you do not need it for the functionality of this. The only thing you need to do is the zip that I provide, unzip it and put it in your Ejap folder. At this point, this was built for Cumulus 8.6.1, so if you have another version, let me know. I can always provide you a version for Cumulus 9 as well. You do have to restart the Cumulus client for this Ejap to load. The very first time this menu item will not appear because you have to set it first in the preferences. If you go into the Cumulus preferences, you will see that you will have a direct URL appearing. You can specify the menu path, and as you can see, I've specified direct URL /encode. That means that it puts it here on top, and then a submenu item encode will perform the functionality. If you prefer to have this functionality right inside, for instance, the asset or another part of this menu that already exists, you can just specify asset /encode and it will add that at the bottom of this menu item. The second thing that you need to do is you need to create a field, one or more fields. I will explain in a second. In the catalog, I created a field called DirectURL, and all you have to do is double click on this field. It takes automatically this, what is called GUID, field GUID, into memory, and you go to the plugin and you just paste this value in here. This will be the field where we will be storing the URL. For this URL, we need a dynamic part, being the record ID in this case, for this direct URL record. So there are several placeholders available. Should another implementation require a different syntax or whatever, these 4 placeholders are you are able to use record name, record ID, catalog name and catalog ID to build any part of a query. You can add any text as well here in front or after this URL. It will, when processing it, encode it as a complete string. Once you've set this up, if you've done this for the first time, you need to restart your Cumulus client. So it's best first to create the field, add it to a record view set. I added this encoded field to my report view here, encode direct URL. I set the parameters here in my direct URL, and then you need to restart your Cumulus client. As soon as you've done that, you can select any number of records to create that direct URL encoded. So here I have maybe these 2 records. You can select 2, you can select 1,000, doesn't matter. I wouldn't select 20,000. That would probably take a very long time. So it's better to group that in smaller pieces. And you can just say encode, and notice that just under the ID, you immediately see the encoding appear. As requested, I made the encoding as short as possible. If for security reasons you like to make it bigger, longer, we can very easily personalize that. Just contact me. So you can see that I have, for instance, here MTM0, MTM0. Be very careful or aware of the fact that we are using the DirectURL technology. You can create these encrypted codes, but as long as you have not enabled the access to this record, the DirectURL's functionality of sites will not work. You can do that by setting a default value in the field, enabling a formula field, or enabling the default value for this field, or you can go to configure web URL and enable those functionalities that you want to offer to the user. It's that technology that will be used. So I've enabled it for this record now. So if I go to my website and I type MTM0, you will get the preview of this picture. Why do I get the preview? Well, now we are getting to the second part of the personalization. The second part of the personalization is done in sites. The index.jspx file of your sites needs a small personalization. You can either do that just by copying this file in a subfolder in the customizations. I created here an example Mosman folder, and I made a copy of the original index.jspx file. And the only thing that needs to be modified to your JSPX file is that you need to paste in this part of code. Or you could just use mine if you are using Cumulus 861. If you're using Cumulus 9, just add this snippet of code and it will work immediately. What does this part do? It looks for a parameter in the URL called code. So you can see here in the URL we have a part called code. If the customer likes that to be called something else, just C or O or whatever, you can add, you can change it in the index. You need to change it here, here, and in this place. That's the three places where you need to modify that. Then here's an example of a URL that that you would create. In the field, you would in the Cumulus catalog, you would only have MTI5. This part of the integration in sites does not use that Cumulus field at all. That Cumulus field can contain whatever it wants. It's not using it. The only reason we are putting that in that field is because the customer can pick up that value for his internal system to build that URL. As I said, you can make the encoded part as big or as small as you like. At this point, we only encoded the record ID, and the rest we are putting hard-coded in. So in my example, I'm going to create, convert this, and I'm going to make a little change to make it consistent. I'm going to convert this kind of URL that comes in into a preview for the sample catalog of that record, which will be decoded from this to that. So in this example, I have P sample catalog. Little reminder that spaces and special characters need to be encoded in a web kind of way. So that means you can check whatever URL he is creating inside, the Cumulus client is creating inside the web URL, then you know exactly what to use. And the URL has a start part, which is p/sample plus catalog. So p/sample plus catalog, and there's behind the ID question mark encoding equals something. So I just added that here, prefix, suffix, and the part in the middle is the code that he picks up from the URL. And then you can decide it is decoded and it is forwarding the page. So it's going to that code. So if you like to have the A of asset here, the T of thumbnail, you can do that perfectly, or even another URL that is created for another purpose can be encoded and decoded in this with this technology. If you need two of them, maybe you say, okay, we want to be able to provide them with the thumbnail and the preview. You can just copy this part, duplicate it, and maybe the second parameter you don't call code, but the second one you call code P or code T for thumbnail. All you have to do is change the T of thumbnail, hit the P here in the T, and hit the and that's just a comment, so not even that. You only have to change this part where you have to change the P and a T for thumbnail, and then the external software can call that particular URL to get access to the file. So it's that simple and very flexible to use. If you have any questions, just contact me. I will mail you both of these files. So good luck.